there are a lot of messed up and crazy things happening in the world. But one thing that keeps me up at night, and it keeps up millions of Americans trying to ponder, trying to think, trying to rationalize about what's going on, is this job market. I mean, what is really going on? Why is nobody's priority putting Americans back to work? Everyone seems to be completely okay with the idea of letting corporations make as much money as possible. And if that requires laying off thousands of Americans at a time, no big deal. If that if that requires growing by 30% in your staffing because you are able to shift off so many jobs overseas, then that's perfectly fine. If the quality and the customer service and all this stuff has gone downhill, so be it. If you have to create a brand new Workday account each and every time you're trying to apply to a job, or if you are able to spend the time, because I guess you have it now that you've been laid off, to apply to 20 jobs a day. And I'm not even talking about quick apply, like sitting out and filling out these Workday applications one by one and being able to apply even 5, 10 jobs a day just to hear nothing back. Or if you do hear something back, it's months later. I mean, I'm getting rejection emails. I don't know about you, but I'm getting rejection emails for jobs I applied to 3, 4 months ago. I mean, what if you had just a set few companies, like, hey, I want to work at these 4 or 5 companies. These are my dream companies to work at. I really dig what they're doing. I'm picking up what they're laying down. They align with my values. I research the culture. This is an organization I can be proud of. They support all the causes that I support, and I want to work here. So I'm going to have a custom cover letter. I'm going to have a custom resume. I'm going to make sure all of my referrals line up perfectly. I'm going to research the job process and make sure that I can answer all of their questions. I can blow them away with my ability to relate to them and to explain to them how this is the ideal role, how this is the ideal corporation. If they say, why do you want to work here? I know it. I'm going to blow your socks off, knock you off your feet with how amazing my answer is to why I want to work here, why I'll be a great fit, and why you should hire me, because I'm passionate. I love this organization. And then you don't hear anything back. So if the advice is, oh, well, you're just spraying and praying, you're mass applying, you're just doing quick applies, not everyone's doing that. Some people are going with quality over quantity, and that doesn't help. In fairness, some people are going with quantity over quality. They got some bots, they've written some code, and they're able to apply to 100 jobs a day. They have a senior software developer resume that has all the things you're looking for, all the modern things, some buzzwords, some keywords, some metrics, all that stuff. They got robots sending it out everywhere. They got AI doing the thing. So it should be a perfect fit for all these jobs. ChatGPT told me it was. And they're getting ghosted. So if it's not a numbers game and it's not a quality game, what are you supposed to do? And some people say to network, well, if you've been laid off and all of your friends around you have been laid off, who are you going to network with? Because you can't reach out to people cold and get a job. You can't just reach out to recruiters and say, hey, you got anything out there? I'd like to get a job. It's not going to work. It's too late. So if you're unfortunate to not have, if you've been unfortunate enough to get laid off and you don't have a network, and if you do quality applications, taking your time, going slowly, making sure you're a perfect fit, applying to dream companies that align with your experience and your background and your values, that doesn't work. If you are using technology to apply to as many jobs as humanly possible, every job that's posted on the internet, none of that works. What are you supposed to do? Can't get a job at McDonald's. Can't get a job at a warehouse. Maybe there's some issues that you have with your back or your health where you can't do a trade. You're stuck. It's not a very good situation to be in. But I don't want to just talk about my thoughts and my personal opinions. I want to share some other people's thoughts today too. So we start off with Holly, who says, I saw in a post recently that a common interview question is, what keeps you up at night? Number one, what a weird question. Number two, are you basing who gets the job off this? Number three, bold of you to assume I sleep. And number four, it's my anxiety. Next question. No, but really, is this supposed to be an icebreaker? I'd much rather tell you what my go-to karaoke song is. Let's pause there. And obviously the karaoke question is just a joke that shouldn't help you get a job either, but I don't know. It doesn't seem like companies. It's one thing if you're deep in the interview process. If you've gone through a couple of rounds, people like you, and they maybe just want to know what makes you tick. What keeps you up at night? Like, oh, well, I just want to make sure I do a good job. I want to make sure that I don't let my team down. Okay, fine. If you're deciding between a couple of people, maybe that's not a terrible interview question. But like a first round, like the hiring manager is asking you that, or like the recruiter is asking you that. Maybe a vice president or a manager, once you've gone through a couple of rounds, can ask you that question, but that's not like an opening question. This is like, we have really strong candidates. Now I'm going to really try to figure out what makes them tick, what motivates them, to see if that is a good fit for this organization's culture. Definitely not an early interview question, but what they're basing who gets a job off of, that's a mystery. That's the $1 million question. Besides, of course, this is my nephew, this is my niece, and I'm an executive, or this person's willing to do the job, they have all the experience and they're willing to do it for $30,000, $40,000 less. Maybe that's another way to decide. It's just very sad that we've reached a point in time where we're not looking for the best and the brightest. We're not looking for the best man or woman for the job. We're looking for how to save as much money as possible by any means necessary. We continue with Manjari, who says, as you all know, the store that I've managed for the past 7 years is closing. I was told they had a spot for me, but then was told last Wednesday that they don't have a spot for me due to a realignment in the company, which led to a lot of people getting laid off. The company does not offer a severance package either, which leaves me with nothing once my store closes on June 8th. I'm still in shock and still trying to process this. I've applied at multiple companies, which I know is going to take time. With that being said, if anyone knows of companies that are looking for top tier talent, please let me know. Thank you in advance. Hashtag who's hiring. Sometimes we can give companies the benefit of the doubt. Sometimes we could say, well, it could be a lot worse. And that's usually when it comes to layoffs and you're one of the people in the first round of the layoff. As it goes on, the packages get worse, the treatment of you gets worse. But like if you're in that first round of layoffs, a lot of times, especially at like a big tech company, you'll say, hey, you're going to have a month left to work. You're going to have this severance package. We're going to pay you for a couple of months. And we're not going to smear you guys in the news. We'll say, hey, it's a financial decision, whatever. But lately, that is just not happening. Because if you are laid off, maybe you do get a decent severance package and you maybe get a little bit of a heads up that you have like a month left. But then it's like, oh, well, yeah, but they're underperformers. They're not doing a great job. We're basically trimming the fat. So it's like, well, that's really hurting your chances of getting a brand new job because they can't blame themselves. The companies, the organizations aren't taking accountability. It's not financial issues. It's not the times we're in. It's not the bad economy. It's not anything else. It's just, man, these people were terrible at their job and we had to kick them to the street. I mean, if you're loyal or if you feel any sort of strong connection to any company, this is something to think about. And then we see her story of not even getting a severance package. And she was a store manager and she worked there for 7 years. No heads up, no severance package, and they can't even move her to a different spot in the organization due to the realignment. And this is right before her PTO. So she's going to have to spend all vacation thinking about like, dang, when I get back, I got to figure something out. So how could you really enjoy your vacation in that situation? But I don't know what's worse because you could actually go on vacation, think you have a job when you return, spend money, ball out of control, and then you're like, oh, well, I don't have a job now. I don't have another month or two. I don't have a severance package, nothing to look forward to. Or it's like, just let them enjoy the vacation and tell them when they get back. Either one is absolutely terrible, but it's awful to see stories like this where they've been loyal. They've worked there 7 months. They're a manager and they don't get a real heads up. They don't get, to work out at the end of the year, 2 or 3 months. They don't get a severance package. I mean, terrible stuff here. And then some people on LinkedIn are trying to be positive, trying to be optimistic, and also kind of vlogging, doing daily. I know it's not a vlog, it's not really a blog either. Daily posts. They're blogging. I don't know what it would be, but basically just giving a weekly or a daily update in their unemployment, their job search. They know they're going to be there for a while, so they're generating some content, trying to get their name out there, trying to be seen on LinkedIn. So we have Matthew who says, Day 2, fun employed. Schedule. What would you add? I have to stick to a schedule. I can't wake up and wonder what the next move is. Time is ticking and things have to be thought out and deliberate. My initial schedule might look something like this. Morning mantra. Have you ever looked in the mirror and told yourself that you're awesome? Have you ever said this aloud to yourself in the mirror? Try it. It's almost impossible not to smile. It's almost impossible not to believe it. Number 2, make my LinkedIn post. This will be for consistency and accountability for my journey. Number 3, apply for 2 jobs. I'm not setting this number high per day because I want to apply with purpose. I want to research the jobs, research the companies, find people to network within that company, and tailor my resume to the job I am applying for. I do not want to just send out resumes left and right. 2 jobs a day is 10 a week, is 40 a month. Seems like a good number to stick by. It's lovely to see the people whose optimism has not been beating out of them. I guess that's a good thing. But 2 jobs a day seems really low. I mean, especially if you're talking to people in staffing, in recruitment right now, they're basically going to tell you, well, you don't want to spray and pray and have like 100 resumes applied to you by just writing an algorithm or using some sort of technology to just apply to things you're not even a good fit for. But then you also don't want to just apply to like 1 or 2 jobs and be like, hey, I'm going to spend time customizing. You want to have your information in there relatively quickly. So if you can have 2 or 3 different options, maybe it's engineering resume, maybe it's a quality assurance resume, maybe it's a product owner resume. Like, all right, these have a lot of the modern jargon, these have metrics, these have job titles that match with that role. And then you have like these set resumes, and you can maybe make a couple of tweaks to a cover letter or whatever to add the specific name of the company or the organization or the role. But other than that, these are like just some staples that you have in your tool belt to just apply to. And I don't think 2 is going to be enough. And if you're some people spend like a week researching for the posting for the job to be the exact fit, and then you're going to miss out. You're still going to want to be someone who applies within that first day. So if it takes you too long to make any sort of adjustments, I think you're going to really miss out. And I don't think that's going to help you. Great to be positive. I think it's probably good to be optimistic, but you can't waste time researching the company and the role for days and days, or you're just going to miss out on the opportunity for sure. You might not get the job anyways, but it's definitely not a good idea to spend too much time sitting on a job posting and not applying to it. He continues. Number 4, take a walk or exercise. I have to keep my mind and body right. This will be a great time to clear my head, gather some thoughts, make some phone calls, and just be in the moment. Number 5, read or listen to an audiobook. I am listening to one right now called Anxious for Nothing. I am looking for recommendations for business, self-help care, healing, relationship building, and more. Please send away. Number 6, kids. I haven't told my kids I lost my job. I don't think it's necessary. They don't need any added stress, or I don't need to give off that things have changed. I want to keep their lives as normal as possible. And if I wasn't before, I want to be even more present for them. This isn't an exhaustive list, as things will fill the in-betweens, but I wonder what else fun employed people are doing or additional recommendations others have. The first thing that I think of when I read this is the Seinfeld episode where they're like, serenity now, and eventually it breaks down to serenity now, insanity later. You have to, at some point, accept the reality of what's going on. You have to basically deal with your situation, and you can't always just be in good spirits, pretend like everything is wonderful when it's not, because that's how you lead to a nervous breakdown. So, I mean, it's probably not a terrible idea to have a morning mantra and maybe make your LinkedIn post. Okay, there could be some value there. I think that you need to apply for way more than 2 jobs, and definitely don't sit on those applications. And then walk or exercise and read or listen to an audiobook. I mean, I don't think you should be spending more time reading a book than applying to a job. I don't think that's the best use of your time. Maybe read a book at the end of it to unwind your brain, but if it's about business and networking, that's not going to do it. Maybe read a fun fantasy book or science fiction. I guess the same thing, but read some kind of like relaxing book for you at the end of the day or right before you go to bed so you can turn your brain off. But I don't know, if you're just applying to 2 jobs, I don't know what you're doing the rest of the day. I mean, walk or exercise. I mean, are you training for a marathon? I don't know, between reading a book and exercise, how that's taking up the majority of your day. And I'm not telling you how to raise your kids, but they don't know. I mean, do you work at home and you just lock yourself in, but you're still able to exercise? You're just sitting at in your work office, just reading a book. I really don't know what's going on here. Unless you're just like going out and just being gone all day and just coming back 8 hours later. I don't know how the people in your household don't know you don't have a job anymore. So that's kind of interesting. But I don't know. I think you got to spend more time applying for jobs, and you got to get your resume in there a lot quicker. And you also don't want to just pretend like everything's going to work out fine just because you did a little bit of something. You got to do a lot more than that, I think. But let me know what you think of Matthew's story and the other stories down in the comments below. And if you have some extra time, YouTube thinks you'll get a lot of value out of the video on screen now. And until next time, remember, times are tough, but so are you. Talk to you later.